Hi, kids. It's Mr. Mac. This week we're going to be reading a book called Life Cycles 20 Question Science. I love it. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to go to the book fair. My mom would give me money and I would go down to the book fair. And there was all these fantastic books. But I just really loved the nonfiction books. I mean, it just, the more science and social studies and all that kind of stuff that I could get, I just loved. And I know a lot of kids liked reading the books about the bears and the bunnies and all that kind of stuff and the bats in the school and just fantastic stuff. But the nonfiction stuffs were the books that just I always loved the best. So, well, my suggestion to you is find a book that you like and find a genre that you like and explore that. There's always a book for someone. 20 Question Science. What do you know about life cycles? By Susan Slade. With love to Worth and Beverly Slade, my wonderful in-laws. Published in 2008 by the Rosen Publishing Group, Incorp. Life cycles. A brand new life begins when an animal is born or hatches from an egg. This new animal grows and changes over time. As animal gets older, they grow stronger and begin to look different. When an animal has finished growing, it becomes an adult. The steps of change in an animal's life are called the animal's life cycle. In time, an adult animal produces their own young. Most birds, fish, and insects lay eggs when they are ready to start a family. Nearly all animals give birth to live young. Under the watchful eyes of proud parents, these new animals begin their own life cycle. One, how long is an insect's life cycle? The life cycle of most insects lasts only a few weeks, although some have shorter or longer lives. An insect called a cicada has the longest life cycle of all bugs. Some kind of cicadas live for 17 years. 2. Do insects have live young? Few types of insects, such as aphids and small flies called tsetse flies, are able to give birth to live young. 3. How do insects change as they get older? Most insects start out as an egg and change into an adult over time. This change is called a metamorphosis. Insects go through either incomplete metamorphosis or complete metamorphosis. 4. What happens during an incomplete metamorphosis? There are 3 steps in an incomplete metamorphosis. The insect starts out as an egg. Most mother insects do not stay around to watch over their eggs as they have been laid. The nymph, or the young insect, that hatch from the eggs must look out for themselves. These nymphs look much like the adult insect. As nymphs eat and grow, its body becomes too large for the hard skin. The nymph sheds its tight outside skin several times before becoming an adult. Many kinds of insects, such as locusts, dragonflies, and grasshoppers, go through an incomplete metamorphosis. 5. How is complete metamorphosis different from incomplete metamorphosis? Complete metamorphosis has 4 steps instead of 3 steps. The young insect hatches from an egg in a complete metamorphosis is called a larva. A larva does not look like an adult insect at all. In time, the larva changes into a pupa. In the last step of a complete metamorphosis, the pupa turns into an adult. 7. What insects go through complete metamorphosis? Some of the insects that go through complete metamorphosis are bees, butterflies, moths, and beetles. 8. What other animals change a lot during their life cycles? Animals called amphibians are born in the water. They live in the water at first, but later their bodies change so they can live on land too. 9. How do amphibians live both in the water and on land? Amphibians lay jelly like eggs in the water. A larva that looks like a small fish hatches from each egg. The larva has gills and a tail. During metamorphosis, the larva changes into an adult with lungs for breathing air. The larva also grows legs for walking on land. 10. What animals are amphibians? Frogs, toads, and salamanders are all amphibians. 11. What is a frog's life cycle like? Frog eggs hatch into fish-like larvae called tadpoles in about 2 weeks. Tadpoles grow legs and lungs in the following 3 months and later become adults. 12. What are the steps in a bird's life cycle? Many birds begin their life cycle inside eggs. These eggs must be kept warm so the embryos, or the chicks, grow inside. When a chick is ready to hatch, it uses a sharp tooth on the end of its beak, called an egg tooth. To break open the egg, it takes the chick several hours to hatch. The newborn then rests and lets its wet feathers dry. The chick parent brings it food until the chick is old enough to leave the nest. This young bird will grow into an adult and have its own chicks someday. 13. What's inside a bird egg? At the center of a bird egg is a round, thick yolk. That yolk goes around the embryo. It also supplies food for the embryo. Around the yolk is the egg white, or albumin. The albumin keeps the yolk and the embryo safe. How do birds keep the eggs warm? Most birds build a nest for their eggs. The mother bird generally sits on the nest to keep the eggs warm. In cold Antarctica, however, father emperor penguins have a job of egg warmer. The father penguin places the egg between his feet and carefully lowers his feathered front over the eggs. He warms the eggs until it hatches about 65 days later. 15. How are new fish born? New fish shakes and wiggles to break open its soft cover of its eggs. 16. Is a fish egg like other animals' eggs? As other eggs do, a fish egg has a yolk and in its center. However, fish eggs do not have a hard shell as eggs of birds and snakes and turtles do. 17. How does a baby fish grow into an adult? When a fish first hatches from its egg, it is called a fry. Fry must look out for themselves. Most have a small sac of yolk on their stomach. They use the food at first. Later, fish become big enough to get their own food. The fish continue to eat and grow until they become adults. 18. Do any water animals have live young? A few fish, such as guppies and certain sharks, have live young. Whales, dolphins, sea otters, and other water mammals all give birth to live babies. What is a mammal's life cycle like? Nearly all mammals form inside their mother and are born live. Mammals care for their helpless babies and keep them safe. For example, bats keep their babies in warm, dry caves where they are safe from their enemies. New mammal babies drink milk their mother produces. Later, young mammals eat solid food. At first, most parents bring the food to their young. Over time, young mammals grow bigger and stronger, and they learn to find their own food and become adults. 20. How long do mammals live? Some mammals have short life cycles, while others have longer ones. Large mammals often live longer than small mammals. For example, tiny cotton mice only live 4 to 5 months in the wild. However, giant elephants live for 55 to 70 years. People are mammals too. Today, many people live into their 90s. Eating good food and getting plenty of exercise can help you live long and healthy life. As you move through your life cycle, you will discover many new and interesting things. Thank you for reading with me today. This is Mr. Mac. I'm signing off. Have a nice day.
Got a blast!